Beautiful humans, welcome back to another episode of Naked Sunday. I'm your host, Caleb Nelson, and I have one of my closest friends, Mr. Jack McDade, on the show today. Bro, welcome to Naked Sunday.
Dude, thanks for having me, finally. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah.
Bro, I love you. We've been talking about this. I'm excited to dive into the project you've been working on. I know you just recorded an episode right before you hopped on here. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. I like to start off all my episodes with why I appreciate my guests. I think we need to start telling each other why we love each other. And,
Shucks.
I think I've said this in 1,000 different ways. There's a million reasons why I love you, man. You've been such a good friend to me. You've been such a good friend to my family. But more importantly, just even on my own personal journey, you've been one of those people who's really challenged me to think about deeper things and explore my spirituality and develop a deeper relationship with that. And I don't think there's a greater gift that somebody can give, but to hold space for that kind of internal development, and we'll call it divine development for anybody who wants to choose whatever words they want to use for that. But I've seen how impactful that's been on my entire life, and it's just really, profound for me to be able to share space with somebody like you and be able to explore that within myself at the same time. So thank you for all the things that you always are for me, my friend.
Shucks, you're going to make me blush. Thanks, man. You've been such a great friend as well.
Doing what?
Same goes for me, double. It's like,
Are we just mirrors of each other, bro? Let's go. Let's go. Before we get right into it, because I want to really get into the project and all that stuff and how we even got here. You know yourself better than I. How about you share with the audience? Who are you?
okay. That's which part of me do I share? Jack McDade.
Any one of them.
I'm a web tech software guy by trade. So I run a software company called Statamic. It's a website building platform that, unless you're in the tech space, you probably don't care about, and that's okay. So that's part of what I do. I met Caleb, I met you at your gym, Purebred. Like, dude, how long ago was it now? Was it?
I want to say 2012, 2013. So we're sitting at,
Yeah, 12 or 13 years.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Every
it's
time we do the
crazy.
math on it, I'm always
It gets,
a little more astounded every time.
yeah, because somehow it always feels like 4 or 5, but
It
it's
does.
not. Yeah,
It
but
does.
it's not. It's the COVID warp. But anyway, yeah, I was a really overweight guy that could never quite get his stuff together, and I managed to dig deep and find like a go button back all those years ago, and said like, I will do the most hardcore thing I can do to fix my body. And I'm like, where's the nearest CrossFit? That's the thing. And that's how I met you. And we did the CrossFit, and then I was there for the ride as we stepped away from the affiliation and started doing like a little more reasonable, like less damaging to your body stuff. But yeah, lost a bunch of weight and became really good friends along the way, because we're like both business owners and had a lot in common. And man, just like so many great conversations, so many great memories, just doing fun stuff, stupid stuff, like coming in for a 7:30 workout in the morning and like
Leaving at
staying
11.
till like 3. I think there were some days where if I got caught talking to you and then Ian later, it was just like, I'll be late for dinner, Jen.
Whoops.
It's nice to be the business owner and be able to have the flexibility in life to say, this is more important than the code I was going to write today. So
Yeah, I don't think enough people consider that freedom, even though, there's a trade-off with that freedom. It's not all, I think every person who's ever heard of anybody owns a business, regardless of what stage that person is in their business, it's like, you must be rich. You must be able to do whatever you want. It's like, no, that means that there's other times where you're going to have to do work that's not as convenient, but
yeah.
the trade-off
Yeah, and
is being able to be flexible. God.
And there's a low level like stress, anxiety that like just never leaves when you've got the business. So, like, well, I could be super flexible, but if I stay too flexible, everything will fall apart and I'll be broken. No one will hire me, and like it's like the echo chamber in the back of your head you have to fight. But yeah,
It's the
yeah,
iceberg under the water. And maybe it's not so subtle, like not so small, like noise in the background. It's always there, and it's always the only thing I can even equate it to is, and it's not even on the same level, is like being a parent. Of like your kids are always on your mind. It's never not
yeah,
there floating. And I didn't fully appreciate that until, of course, I became a father. But I
yeah.
really am glad that I had that backdrop of like, oh, I understand that weight that's just looming there, regardless of what you do.
Yeah.
That's
And
almost
if you
like,
don't have kids, it's like your iPhone. You know where it is at all times, right? If it's not in your pocket, you know exactly where it is, and there's like a little invisible strand connected from your brain to wherever it is on the counter, on the couch. You're aware where that thing is always.
that's a really
Yeah.
good comparison right there, analogy, metaphor, whatever you want to call it. That's a really good one. You always have these very clever, witty like associations, especially when they
Shucks.
get to pop culture stuff. That's a really the iPhone one. And then God forbid you walk out of your house without it, and like you're gone for like an hour and you don't have it. And of course, when you get home, you realize like, wow, I feel a lot better because I don't have it with me, and it was taking up all this mental and emotional energy that it,
That's another whole thing. Also, it doesn't apply to Android because nobody loves their Android phones that much. It's it's just iPhone. Yeah.
the vibe check with anybody, because it's always like I'm
Yeah.
meeting somebody online. I was last week, the last time it happened again after I just did like I met this guy and he was going to be on the podcast.
I see a green bubble and you said no.
No, 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 no. Like it was a second of like waiting. I'm gonna have to call him out for being Android, and then it like turned blue, and I was like, "Turn blue." Well, it sounds like a pregnancy. A
It turned
pregnancy
blue.
test. It's just the vibe check. Are you an iPhone user or not? It's like cool. You passed the vibe check, bro. We
That's
can
too funny.
we can be buddies now.
It's like the gender reveal party of like a new friend. It's like the platform reveal party. Are you green or blue? Someone's someone's beat us to it. We did not just think of that for the first time.
That'd be really funny if we started doing that as like a bit.
That could be a funny
Not
bit.
necessarily the worst idea on recovery mode for you guys to be doing that. That could be that could be fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what are we getting into today, Caleb? What are we talking about?
let's talk. Well, let's first talk about your project,
Okay.
recovery mode. You've been talking about doing something, doing this podcast for quite some time, and having
Yeah.
this creative outlet. For the record, anybody who's listening, Jack might be the most creative human being I've ever met in my life. And
True.
this one, what'd you do? You posted some random thing on X or wherever, and you had a ton of response, and it kind of went down the rabbit hole to where you are now. Let's first kind of get like we talked about. Okay, this is how we met. It was like a very fitness health platform. We've obviously evolved that friendship relationship into bigger things, business, life, relationships, God, all that stuff,
All of it.
all of the things. You've been on your own health and wellness journey ever since you moved. So maybe let's take us through that so that it kind of brings us to where this launch of the podcast is right now.
Yeah. All right. So I'll try and keep it brief, but I think the detail is useful for the conversation and maybe even for other people listening. Although if you end up tuning into my podcast, you're just going to be hearing it again. But 4 years ago, so 5 years ago, I moved from New York, where Caleb is, to Florida with my family. And 4 years ago, seemingly out of the blue, although now I know it wasn't out of the blue, but I started having some like really bizarre symptoms that like could not track down. I was feeling like dizzy and lightheaded and spacey all the time. I was having brain fog. My jaw was like getting stuck closed. I was having a lot of pain, migraines, headaches. My heart was starting to race. Like out of nowhere, it would just spike up to 150 out of nowhere. Panic attacks, and like nothing had changed. It's not like I was entering a new stressful state of life kind of thing. It was just like felt very much out of the blue, and started, all right, I went to a doctor and he's like, well, it's well, your jaw is tight. Maybe you got an infection in your inner ear or something. Let's put you on antibiotics. And that like didn't fix anything. And then, he ran out of ideas. So I went to a chiropractor, and, 4, 5, 6 sessions later, like nothing's any better. So I went to, let's try, this doctor and that doctor, and acupuncture and vestibular specialist and cardiologist for the heart and neurologist and like every ologist, allergist. Like I went to, it was 21 different specialists trying to figure out what was going on. Nobody had an answer. Nobody could even make a dent in any one of the symptoms, let alone all of them. And I had gotten to the point where I'm like, for a while, I was getting really bad anxiety because I thought, well, I must be dying. Like, if nobody can figure this out. It's just like a disease they haven't figured out yet. I've got a year or two to live or something. Like, it's so bad. The brain fog was so bad, I couldn't work. Like, I literally couldn't even work. Like, couldn't actually like sit at a keyboard and type. Couldn't think about what I should type. Well, I would try to like handwrite things, and some of the letters would come out backwards. My brain was just so like scrambled. I'm like, it's got to be a tumor, right? It's like got to be like, what else is it? And you're like, everything, like everybody I went to, your blood work's fine, your scan's fine, your ultrasound's fine, your this is fine, your EK, like everything's fine. Like you are on paper the healthiest person I've seen all week or all month or whatever. I'm like, it's hard for that to make me feel better when I couldn't possibly felt any worse in my own body. So I even went to counseling to just learn coping mechanisms. Like maybe this is just my life now. Like how do I just accept this? And finally ended up getting referred to a woman named Marcy for not directly related, but I just had some recurring shoulder pain from, I tore my shoulder doing clean and jerks back in the day. And went to her for massage. She does like not, it's not like day spa massage, like therapeutic, myofascial, like hardcore, like release work. And she like fixed my shoulder, felt great. And it went to her a few times and started to unpack like what I was going through with her, just as you're chatting, like, oh, by the way, this also hurts. And by the way, my head's also, and I'm dizzy, and all these different things. And she's like, yeah, let me work on that. Like, what do you mean let me work on that? She's like, that sounds like cervical instability. And I've had a lot of people with similar problems who have been able to help. And so like went down this path of like realizing that all of the symptoms, like all of them stemmed from the result of poor posture, having a forward neck posture and the cervical instability, and basically my entire body deregulating because of how out of position things were for like a long amount of time. Like I've been working at a computer, writing code, designing stuff, whatever, for 20 plus years. Like you're hunched over this, whether it's a laptop or a computer, you're on your phone, and just all of these things I did were driving me down into this dried up, crusty cast of a person where all the problems like were all right here. And so learned about how the nervous system works, learned about how all these things work, found tools and like things, functional patterns, which all these things we could talk about in depth if you want to, but basically built out a toolkit of things, of her and cranial work and releasing and like weird in the mouth, like down my throat releases that are just crazy. But all of a sudden my life started to come back to me. Like I started to, the brain fog started to go away, and the pain went away, the dizziness went away. And like I'm doubling down, I'm tripling down on this now, because like this, I thought I was at the end of my life, and now I'm seeing my life come back to me again. So it's been about a year of like weekly sessions with her. And I said, like, look, I've been able to help some of my friends because they're going through similar things. And I don't have all the answers. I only have the answers of what we figured out for me in my case so far. So whenever someone lines up, like, oh, I have that same thing, I can help you a bit. But she's like the expert. So I asked her, hey, would you want to start a podcast? And like, let's just talk about all of this stuff and talk about like how your body works in the ways that nobody else is and how to fix these problems yourself. Like, cause these are things you can like do on your own. Or with like minimal help from other people and really turn your life around. There's people living in pain that don't need to. There's people living with anxiety that don't realize that it's actually stemming from your body's dysregulation, not your mind's. And it's like, wow, we need to talk about this because I can't find anybody doing it. Or if they are talking about it, they stop short of telling you everything and then try to take your money, try to like sell you a product or try and make you join a course or whatever. And so like, we want to give all that away. And if there's a thing you need to buy, like a lacrosse ball, like we're not going to get rich on lacrosse balls. They're $4, you know, like what, let's just help people and just see where it goes. So that's the project that we're now calling Recovery Mode. It's a podcast. We're doing it on audio and video for on YouTube because there's things you're going to want to see. We're going to point to stuff. We're going to like do things and just see where it goes. It might go all sorts of places or it might remain a podcast and we'll see. But this is like my thing. And I'm now in my studio where I built a studio set out to film this podcast in and just finished recording an episode like half an hour ago. Yeah. It's wild stuff.
Yeah. Well, obviously, as your friend who's been witnessing a lot of this journey as a bystander through all the other stuff, and we're having all our calls and our chats about everything. Just, it's been really nice to just see you have the hope back, and like that, which I think not enough people take into account. A little bit of hope goes a long way in terms of just showing up for stuff. If you lose hope, you just kind of mail it in. You're like, well, why bother with anything else? Whether it's nutrition or going for a walk or, name your thing. Why bother if hope is lost? So to see you kind of have that glimmer back is really cool. And I don't think I've seen you this excited about anything, any project you've done since I've known you. This seems really cool just to like, and we talked about this not long ago, like, it's not that you're the fitness guy or the health guy now, but it's that you've moved yourself into a place where you get to be the host and the kind of the glue that brings a lot of these things together for an audience. Probably it's going to be a lot of desk jockeys, a lot of people in the tech space, whatever, but people who have lived a similar lifestyle that have just been locked down, grinding their face off, not thinking about the auxiliary consequences of that. And then all of a sudden just like are smacked in the face with, all the downstream health problems and lifestyle problems that come from that. So it's really cool for me to witness you stepping into this new role, this new act of service, which I think is just really, it's powerful, not only just in that, but also like, I've got to imagine it somehow holds you accountable to like the path that you're on as well as you're growing through it.
Yeah, that's very much part of it too, is like, I'm on this journey. In what ways can I double down more than what I've like, you can only spend so much time, in the gym or myofascial rolling, or like there's a point where you're like, I've done the work today. Now the work is like, it's not passive, but it's like, now it's a list of things you don't want to do. Like, don't sit on the couch, your head like this, and like, don't get into these postures. But like, what else can I do besides not do something? I don't know. I can dig into the topic more. I can try and help people with it. And so I can learn more by trying to apply the information or help other people with it and talk about it. And now with the podcast with Marcy, it's another opportunity for me to ask her questions like maybe don't fit in our hour. We have our session. We want to get progress. I want to be able to work on my body. She's got to work on my jaw and my neck and my cervical spine. It's like we have an hour, but like sometimes my questions or like the topic is like, there's a lot to unpack, and now we can do a whole episode on it, and I can learn it. She can share. We can put it out there and like actually help other people. So it's super exciting. It's very cool.
I think something that's hard for people to really wrap their head around is this more holistic approach where you're talking about is like it's not necessarily a mental thing, it's a body thing, but or vice versa. Sometimes it's the other way around. Is that something that took you a long time? I mean, we've talked. I always knew my approach over a pure, but at least I tried to be. It was a little bit different. I tried to be a little more ahead. I haven't gone down the full, rabbit hole that Marcy has, and I can't wait till one day I get to get some body work from her. But explain a little bit of that experience and that journey for you, kind of being able to zoom out and kind of look at this more holistic model around health and wellness, just in your own experience with this.
Yeah, I mean, oh, where to even start? That's a very broad. Just talk about all of it, Jack. Just
You're great at doing that, though. You're good at
just all
somehow
of it.
circling the wagon and just going where you want to go with it.
I'm drawing the circles. Yeah. Um, so I think one of the most interesting aspects of this, one of the kind of the takeaways that is very broadly applicable, is that like our bodies were designed to work as a whole unit, like it's a whole system, and our modern lifestyles often ask us to chop it up into smaller pieces and use them independently. Whether it's we now have knowledge workers. That's like a whole thing where people like you don't really it doesn't even really matter where we are. We just want your brain on stuff. Or, software and technology has obviously over the last 34 years exploded to an unimaginable level. It's AI and everything. And we are as human beings sacrificing our minds and bodies in the terms of grinding our face off long hours, staring into a black box, our computer. When I'm not putting anybody down for doing this. I do this too. Sitting at a computer, or maybe you're standing at a computer all day, essentially sacrificing ourselves to build up these machines that support us. Back in the 60s, when you look at like the retro future imagination of what the world would be, we were all chilling and lounging and the robots were doing the work. We've got more robots and like AIs and things and whatever than ever, but everybody's like more glued to their devices and working harder than ever. And it's so backwards, right? So this idea of learning how our body was actually meant to work as a whole unit, not just the way you move, but the way your nervous system is designed to react and handle to the things that everyday life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, throws at it, and how kind of increasingly more inequipped we are to handle those things because of the way we're sacrificing our body. Like a simple example is like when your body is like you're in fight or flight mode. Everyone's talking about fight or flight, right? You've got like adrenaline and cortisol and all this stuff's like pumping, and your all these stress hormones go in to focus your mind, which is a useful thing. So we're focused and we're like on edge, but we're doing it like hunched up in a ball, like at our computer or in a chair, or like pumping caffeine into our system. And your bloodstream and your nervous system like needs your entire body to like move and process those neurotransmitters. And when your body isn't flowing and your circulation isn't good, and your body doesn't use like your knee bone's connected to the thigh bone or whatever, like these like little nursery rhymes are like real. Like your whole body needs to be connected in order for your body to process all of that stuff. And when it's not, now you have this little chamber that all of your stress has gone into, and guess what? It overflows like almost instantly. And now we have like anxiety problems and people dealing with like what shouldn't be very hard situations, and you're just being unable to cope with it. Sensory problems. And I see it now from a lens where like it finally is something that explains kind of the epidemic that we're having with, you now have people just on average, like the average person. And I would put myself in that. I'm not casting aspersions on like, oh, society's so bad and I'm above that. But I have been dealing with it too. Anxiety coming out of nowhere for things that shouldn't be a problem because my body is like not connected. have created separate compartments. And even when we exercise, is it leg day? Is it arm day? Is it shoulder day? Is it chest day? We've decided we're going to carve off a part of our body and just work on that in isolation. And like, this is not something that you like, that was not your approach. And, you know, at Purebred, like it was like, let's do your whole body. And that was great, but not everybody does that. And so just the idea of like, let's put it all back together again. Let's get our feet to connect to our ears. That sounds dumb, but like, you can actually, there's like exercises you can do where you can feel your feet in your ears, like connect. And it's like, what are we talking about here? Like, and then it turns out like your capacity to process things like increases. And like, yeah, I mean, I was on like anti-anxiety medication and I'm like pretty much almost all the way off now because I don't need it. My body is like actually doing what it's supposed to do. So, I don't know if I answered your question or even what it was, but
No, I
just,
love what you were just bringing up there. The first thing I want to bring to the surface is the compartmentalization element. And
yeah,
I've probably talked about it on the podcast before if anybody's listening, but I'm going to bring up the word diet. The word diet has been bastardized in modern day culture, right? We think about it as restriction and weight loss mechanisms, whatever, you know, food and exercise, some form of that. The word originally comes from the Greek or Latin word deus or dietis, meaning way of life. So it's a broader term, diet. So if we look at it that first that way, what you're talking about is how many people treat their life in just silos. They think it's all separate. It's like, here is my work, and then there is my this. And like, so the word, even the word work-life balance, I find to be a pretty garbage term because
yeah,
there is no such thing as work and life. There is life, and work happens to be an element of it. And we don't know how to integrate all of those things. And where you're
yeah,
going with that, especially when you do that close down, like the body position while you're stressed, then you add the other stress, people don't think about what stress really is. And it's not like stress is stress is stress. There is financial stress, there's emotional stress, there's sexual stress, there's relational stress, there's physical stress, all this other stress. And your body doesn't necessarily know the difference. It's going to put it on your body. And if you're not in a good position to receive it, well, as you just said, that closed down, you don't need to be a physiologist to look at a position and be like, you look like you're not in a good place to protect yourself or whatever it is. No
yeah. The
wonder
fetal position is a cry for help. Yeah,
it's a cry for help, and is or a restorative position if you're actually relaxed, but you're not in those situations.
yeah,
So I thought that was really important that you were illuminating that, is that we aren't taught. I've kind of moved past just the physical fitness space myself, but I wanted to zoom that out for a second. Like, well, how are we all addressing our life? We're thinking, I'm just going to max out the change in this one area and think that I can it's going to solve all the problems in all the others. Like, that's not real. You need to learn how to integrate all changes into all aspects of your life. And as you said, like, it sounds silly, like, your foot connected to your ear. Like, it's not. It's not silly because it is all connected. And in the same way, if we really want to get spiritual and existential, like, we are all connected. There's not really separation. And it's I would even go so far as to say it's one of the biggest lies we've ever been told. It's like, we can do one thing, like we can say something on the internet and impact somebody on the other side of the world, positively or negatively. We can, like, to say that we're not connected is crazy, but we don't want to necessarily see ourselves in that other person, which is why what I think you're bringing up here is that this segmentation, this separateness in how we both treat our body, specifically the elements of our body, let alone our lifestyle. It's no wonder that since those elements aren't talking, they don't line up. They don't know how to integrate. They don't know how to work well together. Even if one's stronger, the other is not, like, it doesn't matter. It becomes like one overpowering the other. And I'm talking both in existential and literal senses.
yeah.
So I thought, I didn't know where you were going to go with that answer, but I loved the answer all together, because we don't think about approaching change in a holistic, integrated fashion. And there's not one simple answer to it. It's
Yeah.
a process.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle that doesn't really ever end. You just keep like making it clearer, right? But it's like you're never done. You just keep working on it. Um, yeah, it's really fascinating.
Well, even what you just said right there, I think what that leads to is people getting away from, we'll call it outcome driven goals or satisfaction, to learning how to actually fall in love with the process. Because as you're saying, like you're never
Yeah.
really done. And that makes sense because new things happen in your life, whether you stub your toe or your kid goes off to college or you just get older or something else happens or there's an event. Like there's new information that enters your life, and it doesn't end because you're learning how to engage with that new information and new stress, both happy and sad and angry and joyous and blissful and all those things. Of course it never ends. And I think that that's something, if we could really take that to heart and learn again how to love the process, even love when we're in the pain, which that's also kind of a challenging thing to wrap our heads around.
Yeah.
I think we'll find more joy in our life altogether, because it's
Yeah.
otherwise we're just trying to rush to the end of our life, and what the what the hell was the point in living in that sense?
Yeah. I'm not living for retirement, you know?
No.
It's like, yeah. It's I mean, you said it earlier, like at the beginning, it's like it's that hope. When you find that hope, like you can be happy and find joy in pain when you have hope, right? It's like it is a lot harder when you don't have hope and you're in pain. That's for sure. So,
Along this path, what's been some of like the biggest lessons for you?
biggest lessons. I mean, you have to just go back to like the beginning, like ground zero with what is like priority. Like just even we have 24 hours in a day, you really should be sleeping like 8 to 10 of them, so we got 14, 16 hours a day. How do I spend them? What do I do with them? How do I prioritize my day? And how do I do the things that I need to do and want to do in a way that isn't like you're either like working on the problem or you're making the problem worse. Like you're either going one way or the other. So like how can you do all of the things in life in a way that helps solve the problem rather than like create more problem? And that goes for the way you move in space and like just physically in my particular physical issues that I've been overcoming, but also in the way you just mentally and spiritually how you tackle them too. Because you could throw yourself at, well, now I'm just going to be in the gym working on all my functional patterns movements all day, and then like not be there for your family and not like you. There's always a balance, but finding ways to integrate it where it's not completely segmented. Like the things that like I do them with my kids and my family is great when we can all do the same things together and we like check all the boxes together. I don't like having, I've got a work life and like my family doesn't know what I do for a living. They don't know my coworkers, and then I've got my family life, and then my whatever, like all your pieces. Like I like it to be all one big messy pot where everything's kind of all together, doing all of it with the same people. And I don't know. That's learning how to do that has been quite a lesson, and I haven't perfected it yet. But I'm in so much better of a place than I was 4 years ago that I'm very thankful and have a lot of joy about it.
Let's lean into that a little bit more, like the work life integration thing. You're definitely one of the people. I still remember the first time you kind of talked to me about what that tech world looks like. And I just remember some of our conversations around it being like, this is how you're actually approaching building your business. And yeah, sure, you were still in some of the grind phase, like you were trying to build that thing, and there was definitely some moments that got over the X hump and whatever, all of that. But one of the things I've always admired is that you always operated from this deeper place of integrity and this other insight about like where the family lies in this. Where I think that, that's definitely where even like this, as you say, talk about growing spiritually, that's something that people sacrifice or choose to just like let go as in the chase of like the pursuit of the almighty dollar. And of course that's like classic worshiping false idols kind of concept. And you and I both know that ends up like there ain't no free rides. There's a karmic debt that's going to get paid on some end of that spectrum.
Yep.
I would like just take other, because I think we're moving to a place in, we'll call it entrepreneurship, because I think there's so many entrepreneurs now. I think that the past 20, 30 years with technology and whatever has made it far more available. I also know our generation has been far more driven by more purpose and work, we'll call it work-life balance, those kinds of things. So there's been a much bigger rise that it's beyond just money that we're seeking. How have you approached both that, like keeping your family at the forefront, staying ethical with how you're building your business? What are some of the approaches? What are some like the key mindset things that you've incorporated to keep the right things at the forefront the entire time?
Yeah, I mean, I would say on the most fundamental level, if you're running a business, you're optimizing that business for something. Most people are making your decisions and optimizing around maximum profit. It's common. It's business. It's economics. Like the more money you make, the better you did at business. That is the default mode. I chose, instead of optimizing for profit. Now, obviously, as a business, you have to make money or you don't get to stay in business. Like that is very much part of it. But if you optimize, I've chosen to optimize for flexibility and a more of a lifestyle business where the business does not add unnecessary stress to our daily lives. In terms of like, we got to launch this on this day. We don't have hard deadlines. We'll move them. If we said it's coming out on Friday and it's not ready, we don't stay up till 3:00 in the morning to make it out on Friday. We say, sorry, it's going to be Tuesday. And that's just it. And like the world moves on and people get on Tuesday. So by building a culture around optimizing for flexibility and a better lifestyle, we're a lot happier and are able to use our time in what I consider as much better ways. We can take a day off anytime. I can take an afternoon off. If I don't get any work done today, that's okay. Like it's going to all work out in the end. Like it does mean we are giving up maximum profits because there's opportunities. Like if you can hustle a thing out and get whatever, a feature out by a certain day or get some blog posts or some marketing thing, there's always something you can do to make more money, hire more salesmen or whatever. But in choosing to optimize for flexibility, I give up some of that, and that's okay because the bills are still paid. Everybody's happy, the product is good, the community is good, and I've chosen like that's the way we're gonna do it. So there was a second part to that question though, there wasn't there? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I think it kind of piggybacks into how you're just saying that. It's like I think there's a lot of courage that even comes from just saying you're going to optimize for that first.
Yeah.
What did you have like a distinct moment where like you were feeling pulled by both sides and then just like, nope, this is where I'm going? Or was that always just like, no, I already knew that this is what I wanted?
I kind of always knew because before I started my own company, I was working for a marketing company that was all about the bottom line, was all about the money. and to the point where they're just burning employees out. And I slept on the couch in the office trying to hit deadlines, and we're, just ordering pizza. We'll keep working, ordering pizza, keeping working, putting on weight. I'm sacrificing my body. I mean, I got up to 270 something pounds, because I was just working and never moving. There was no time for exercise. Like, there was a little bit of time to spend with my wife and my kid at the time. And that was it. It's like, and sleep, if I'm lucky. Sleep comes last, because I'm going to put my family above sleep. So I just lived on 3 hours of sleep for years, maybe 4, working 70-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks. It's crazy. So having done that before, and in that business, it always felt like we never had enough. Like, if you're never going to have enough ever, no matter what, even when you're burning yourself out, what if you just didn't have enough but weren't burnt out? Isn't that better? It seems better to me. So we'll just have not quite enough, but we're happy. So, okay, that's a win. Just treat people like you want to be treated, and don't ask someone to give up their child's soccer game because you want to make more money. The end. I mean, I can't stress to you how little I thought about it. It was just this is how I'm going to do it. The end.
I mean, I got to imagine that experience of living it firsthand, I'm sure at some point played itself out of I can't keep living my life this way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
made it pretty easy. Had you not gone through that experience, do you think you'd have had some of that challenge yourself? I mean, hindsight 20.
Yeah, I probably, and I will clarify. When you build your own business, there are periods of hustle and grind your face off. It's not that, well, I've only ever worked a 35-hour week since then, and everything's been perfect. No, but it's I will talk with my wife. Here's an opportunity. If we work really hard and we get this thing done by this date, I think there's a real opportunity to whatever. We'll be able to do this. We'll be able to make enough money so that I can hire another person and then take the stress off. So let's take a short-term sacrifice for a long-term win. Great. Let's do that. But this never-ending, it's all about the short term, all about how much we can make and optimize and squeeze and work right now without any end in sight. I was just it was just never going to be a way I would do it. But had I not lived that before, I could see, I do tend to have a workaholic or, a little obsessive personality where when I'm in the problem and I'm working on it, I want to keep going. So I think it's easier for me to be oh, you're working too much now. It's time to log off. Go jump in the pool with the kids or something. Let's go for a walk. It's a lot easier. Those warning signals and those the signposts running out a highway and 200 yards. They're a lot more obvious to me now than they probably would have been. Where they're you're only seeing them in the rearview mirror as you're careening towards a cliff. No.
Whoops. Well, I think the difference, what I heard there, especially if we're talking about optimizing for flexibility, you also are leaving the door open for seasonal flexibility as well. Oh, okay. Let me talk with, we'll call it my advisory board. Usually your wife, your significant other should probably be on your advisory board because they have to deal with you on the back end of it as well. So,
yep, 100%.
Happy wife, happy life. I think every wise man understands that one eventually. Being able to say, hey, this is what is the things we really want right now, and is this what we care about? But that's very different than what you had just said, this never-ending cycle of never enough. And that's such an important conversation to be able to have. And not only that, it has to be an ongoing conversation. As I'm looking at my daughter slowly get up on the monitor, and then she's oh, we're about to hear some screaming in a second.
It's going to be a short episode. That's okay.
Well, she's probably going to join in and be hey, I want to see Uncle Jack while we're here. 4 seconds, I'm going to pick her up, and she's going to come join up.
All right, let's do it.
Here we go. Oh, here we go.
Caleb's great, isn't he? He's not going to hear this part. He's a great guy. Look at him taking care of his daughter. So cute.
You just vamping for me while I'm gone?
Yep. Just telling everybody how bad of a human you are.
fill in some airtime for me. I feel that love, brother. Can you wave to Uncle Jack and wave to all the people? There you go. There's the sleepy eyes. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't think enough people consider that. And as somebody who can also attest to that, the burnout culture, the burnout life cycle, whatever it is, it's not a... It's often like you're not recovering. Like in classic in fitness, there's not really an overtraining. There's an under recovering. But if you never make space to recover, the symptom of burnt out is going to happen.
Yeah.
And underneath that, it's like if you don't know who you are, i.e., what's really important to you, and what decisions are you willing to make that are not just running with what everybody else is doing, you're going to run into these problems. Because if what is important to you is not the same as that person that you see on Instagram or X or Facebook or whatever social media platform you're looking at right now, you're just following their playbook, not knowing the rest of the context of their life, not knowing if they're completely miserable or not. Like that's,
Yeah.
Here you go, sweetie. Take this.
Yeah. What are they optimizing for? You know, like you don't know. Then might not be. You think they're optimizing for money, and they're not. They're optimizing for fame. They're just optimizing for notoriety. Like they might, all this advice that they're giving you about how to get rich, they might be broke as hell. They're spending all of it on their looks, so that they're thinking if I spend enough, maybe eventually I'll get rich because people think I'm rich and they're going to give me my money. So you don't even know. You don't even know. Don't compare yourself to other people. It's a horrible idea.
If there's
Another thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you.
No, you.
I was going to really
You.
say, if nothing else comes out of this episode, I hope everybody listens to that one right there. Like, what you see out there is often just a shell game, especially on the internet. Like, it's very obvious. Like, we're not in a place anymore where, like, most people go talk to their next door neighbor the same way, depending on where you live. It's mostly everything you're seeing is on this, whatever, how 3x5 or 4x6 inch, screen in your hand. And it's hyper, modified, and God knows how much AI has been punched into it to like make it look certain way. You have no idea if that's real or not. And especially since how cheap it is to edit and modify and tweak things nowadays, you really don't know what's real and what's not real. So It behooves you to go focus on what's most important to you.
Yeah. Your real life. Your real life. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, another benefit of optimizing for flexibility is being able to seize opportunities. If you have margin in your day, your week, your month, you aren't burning yourself out using up every square minute. That's not a thing.
It's a new thing now. We're going to use it.
It's a good square minute. Every last second, you have opportunity to like jump on and say yes to things. Like they can fit in your schedule. You can. Yeah, whether it be business opportunities or life opportunities, it's great to be able to have someone say, "Hey, you want a such and such?" and say, "Yup," just drop everything and do it. I have friends who can't spare 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes is too much. I can't. Dude, you want to? No. 20 minutes? No, don't have it. Okay. That's a tough schedule when you can't squeeze anything in ever, anywhere, with anybody. So, yeah.
I mean, if that's what you want to do with your life, more power to you. But chances are, if you're listening to this episode, anybody, that's probably not what you want. And I think maybe it almost feels like, hey, sometimes you need to hear somebody else say that it's okay to do this, to maybe give yourself the permission to go do the thing and build the life that you actually care about. Because, we need to see that somebody else did it and like the world didn't collapse. Yes, I said yes to a 20-minute conversation with my friend. Oh, and life went on. Or I went to my kid's soccer game and like the business didn't completely collapse. Or I left at work an hour earlier and the sun was still out this one time and it rose again the next day. That's...
Or in upstate New York, the sun is out today. Maybe I should go outside because it might not be back for a while.
It might not be there. But I think the other side to this, if we get beyond, we talked a little bit of like short-term gains. What I continue to see is sure, people do a lot of short-term gains all the time, not realizing that they're just completely eroding their foundation, whether it's fitness, whether it's business, whether it's their marriage, whatever, they'll mortgage the house, they'll mortgage the whatever for this one thing with no, as you said, the margins on the back end. And even you're talking about opportunity, let's just use business because sometimes that's the one thing that people like are really worried. Like, if I make these changes, am I still going to be okay financially? Not even just like the downside. I have one story that I've shared on, that's gotten more views than most on Instagram. It was about a client I had. He had some calamity happen while he was on a spiritual retreat. He had no access to stuff, but he actually had the emotional bandwidth and like the, as you said, the margins to not do crazy reactions. And he had also built out like the people in his life, the relational team to help handle the problem. So he didn't have a big financial collapse. If anything, actually everything went really well and he was confident. But even on the other side, if you don't have those margins to really listen to a great opportunity when it finally comes around, you might miss those opportunities. Opportunities that's probably been staring you in the face for years. And you've just been so fried chasing your tail week in, week out, day in, day out, because of whatever keeping up with the Joneses, or nowadays, I guess, keeping up with the Kardashians mindset, that you can't even see the best opportunity that was going to have the longest term, the most sustainable success staring you in the face the entire time because you're just too fried to see it.
Yep.
Too close to it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that space gives you perspective, and perspective just lets you see things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy. And you don't, I mean, I know I've listened to people say things like this and be like, oh, well, sure, it's easy for you and everything just works out. Everything doesn't always work out, and it doesn't always stay flexible 12 months a year. But when you can have control over it, when I would choose to be like, we could do this or we could not do this. Will this make us less flexible or will this make us more flexible? And then make decisions based on those. You start working down towards a path of more flexibility, more space, more margin, more padding in your life. And so over time, you can get there.
Have there been any key things? It's nice when we say, hey, I'm optimizing for flexibility, and then seasons happen, and it's sometimes difficult to remember that we were optimizing for flexibility in the first place. What are some of the systems and things maybe you've put in place? Call it accountability. Like how have you gone about making sure that you're always able to come back to that central premise? What have you done to make sure you can be consistent with that in mind?
Yeah, I mean, part of that is my company's all remote, and there's a benefit to not having a physical space that the expectation is you're there, your butt's in the seat, you have to physically be there. Working remote it's not a new thing anymore. A lot of people do it. So like that part, but then having like a company culture that does not really require, it was having an asynchronous company culture. So where we don't have to all be in Slack or in chat at the same time. There's benefits to it. We often overlap, but we have ways of working without having to talk to each other and have meetings and all that kind of thing. So if everybody can kind of work on their own pace at their own time, it allows each person on the team to get their work done when it's best for them versus when it's best for me, because I don't really care if it gets done at 2 a.m, 2 p.m, or on Saturday, whatever. Like, if we're just getting our stuff done, like, we end up in the same place as long as you're not driving for like needs to be done by 5 o'clock, like some arbitrary deadline. So having a team culture and a company culture that works that way is a big piece towards, having something, in place to encourage that sort of flexibility. And then just knowing that we all love that so much and that it's a good way to work. Everyone's able to, no one misses a birthday party or a soccer game or a cool concert or whatever that's important to you. When there are opportunities like, look, there's this company, they want to build using our software, but we'd have to add this feature and we'd have to do this and we'd have to like commit to this schedule. And we say, okay, well, we can look at it. Is this, what would we be able to do if we do it? it's money, but it's not enough money to like move the needle. All right, we won't do it then. We won't do it. It's fine. Because if that means we have to give up that flexibility in order to have the money, if the money gives you a chance, like, oh, we can all work more for a period, and then everybody gets a bonus, and now we can take better vacations. If everybody wants to do that, like that's cool too. But yeah, I mean, it is a constant. You have to evaluate everything through that lens. It's not like it's not automatable.
Well, what I'm hearing in this, and I think we're also I love that you use the word automatable, because I talk to so many people and they're just looking for the next piece of software to essentially automate out any semblance of human interaction and any semblance of like a relationship building thing, which is bizarre to me because they're also the same people that then complain that they're super lonely. And
Yeah,
so, how do you think you got there?
yeah,
What I'm hearing, that like, what I appreciate about how you approach your culture is that it's very, you're putting responsibility on them. Like, hey, you got to be an adult and you got to do your work. But that's also empowering. Of like, cool, I have a say in the growth of this. I'm sure that you didn't just whimsically choose these people either. Like, we're looking at their
yeah,
values and their work ethic and their own things. But as you just said, it's not just something you can automate out. You have to still check in. You still have to put the relationship front and center, especially since, if you have younger people as they get older, maybe they have families, they have kids, things change, their desires and their motives are going to change. You also have a chance to evolve with that. But I think too many people want to just put some cookie cutter thing in place and then, automate it all out, and like then are surprised when there's still cracks that come into that, and you're still going to have a relational interaction, like a human
yeah,
interaction, to solve the problems. Like, or you could have solved it with a couple minutes of work here that wasn't that bad anyway earlier on, and
yeah.
saved yourself all these headaches. I really like how you did that. It sounds like just a very empowering culture, which obviously they're reflecting back how you're approaching this. That's so important.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know. It's awesome. But it took a lot of work. It did take a lot of
I
work.
have it all figured out, Caleb.
I just think, obviously I love you, man. I've been I've been around your team as well. The flat camp that we went to, whatever, a couple of years, the one that I was at, it's very obvious. And something else that I appreciate just in your perspective is that, and the more we zoom out with this, we talk about flexibility. One of the things that you've often talked about is like, how do we do things that are not financially driven? It's not about money, any of it, which leaves things open, ironically, to like maybe something financially beneficial does come from that. But
Yeah, I mean,
just
it's great when it does happen. I mean,
sure,
I don't say, please don't give me money ever. But when you lead with that, I feel like you're not making decisions that take the person you're trying to help into account. So, yeah, whether it's the software that we're building, we want it to be most useful for the people. We price it in a way that maybe isn't best for us, but it's better for them. So they're more able to be successful at what they do. And our hope is that if enough people also all like that, then eventually it'll also work for us too, right? In the long term, and just take the long play with everything, and usually works out. If you can survive the short term, which I couldn't always, and there was I had side jobs and was working, like, take side projects and whatever it takes to like build it up until it's mature enough. And yeah, there's always more going on behind the scenes, but
yeah, but that's important for people to know. Like, especially if it's your main thing, definitely don't. Like, what I'm hearing there is like, you don't sacrifice the values of the company and the culture for the sake of money,
yeah,
because whatever it takes, however many hours and yeses to like build trust. It takes one simple thing to like lose all of it.
Yeah.
If that's your main thing, like don't sacrifice that one clear thing, and having that long-term perspective on it. Yes, it's difficult. Granted, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Of course it's going to be difficult because it's going to call into question your morals and ethics, and when things get tough, do you actually stand by your morals and ethics, or do you just kowtow to whatever external pressures there are? Like, that's what integrity is. You don't actually have real integrity if it's not challenged by other moments.
What are you doing when people aren't looking? That's integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, you're sharing all that stuff, and I just said that, like, that perspective of it, giving when it's not always about money, not about thinking about this transactional thing. It seems very in line with the same thing you're doing right now with recovery mode, is that I just want to give. Maybe something comes from it, maybe something doesn't. But here I am. I'm giving what I've learned. I'm putting it back out into the world. I want people to benefit from it. I feel good doing it. Yes, I'm having fun. You're sharing time with a great practitioner and now a friend. When the intrinsic benefits are also just more of the motive anyway.
Yeah.
I think people forget that that's usually the stuff. Because it's so authentic, it's so real, and people love to be around people who are having real fun and really genuinely care about each other. Somehow, some way, that seems to always be the most, we'll call it, profitable and successful things long term, because the essence of it was pure. It wasn't tainted by all this other yucky stuff. When everybody says, like, I just don't want to feel like a number. Well, don't treat people like a number from the beginning, and go figure. You have an opportunity for that to happen.
What's the business model? Like, if it's free, I'm the product, right? Yeah. It is nice to be able to do something where you don't have to worry about the money. Like, you can do it because you have joy in it, because it's helpful. Recovery mode like hits a number of those categories where it's just like great on so many levels. And yeah, there could be money from it later. But if we try to build, here's a podcast of like good information, like join for $29 a month to hear our stuff. You don't even know who we are yet. Like, nobody wants another person doing that. It's ridiculous. So yeah, just give it all away. Almost all the best things that happened in my career because I decided to just do something for free, for fun, for someone, because I thought it would be cool or be interesting. And it's not to say do free work, like don't get paid, but opportunities come from doing stuff for fun, for free. And in my experience, almost all the best ones. So
it's true. Plus, it just naturally creates reciprocity. Who doesn't want to help somebody who just helps? I agree with you. Like, the people that show up and just genuinely want to serve usually works out. I just read the book The Go-Giver recently after years. Yeah. So you read it? Yeah, we talked about it. I know we talked about it.
Yep.
Same premise. Everybody go listen or read, whatever. If you actually like to read it with your eyes, go buy the book. If you like to listen, go buy the audiobook. Listen to it. It's worth it. It's only like 2.5 hour listen.
Yeah, it's a quick one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like to do that. Oh, look at our timing. See, we made it a little longer. I didn't think it was going to be that short today. Plus, she blacked out again in my arms. I knew that was coming. I knew it. I'm actually pretty proud that she slept for an hour before.
Heck yeah.
Interrupted.
That's great.
Let's move into, I have 3 fun questions.
All right.
To do. Question number 1. What sports or creative activities did you do when you were younger? And B, how did you play them? Like, what was your style of play in that?
Okay. When I was a kid, I played basketball. I was not good. I was the young homeschool kid on the team full of like older kids and they didn't know me. So my play style was nobody gives me the ball, so I'll be mad and I'll trip people on purpose. It was, I'm not good at this, therefore I will hurt someone. And I think I still remember this moment where I realized I just did that on purpose. Something's wrong. That is not okay. Maybe I should dial this back. And like, I actually, in that moment, I said, don't be competitive. And I just killed it. And from that moment, I have never been competitive about anything in my entire life. Because the YMCA basketball game where I tripped some kid on purpose. So yeah, there's my own little sin nature. Like as a kid, that's how I played basketball.
So this is an interesting one. I've never gotten a response like that. The reason why I like this, so I studied kinesiology at Cortland, and one of the classes I took in the beginning was they had a part about play, and I kind of, how do I say, usually I poo-pooed it. I was like, whatever, play. Namely because I've struggled with especially free play in my life. If there's not a score or there's not a big structure around it, I've always struggled with that. Anyway, what they were saying about it was how kids play is very indicative of just like how ultimately you operate like and solve problems in life. And what I found interesting about your response there is that like that one moment you stopped the competitive, but I hear now like your
Yeah.
professional life, it's actually very collaborative.
Yeah.
It's about the team. It's how do I serve? It's not about cutting somebody off at the knees. It's how do I lift them up? How do I incorporate people into it? So I find that to be very interesting.
Mm.
That was your
If
response right there.
if you want to go a little bit deeper and fast forward the timeline just a little bit, from after basketball, after I kind of like hung up my sneakers and stopped playing, and it's not that I stopped playing, I just whatever, just wasn't very good. And eventually stopped. All the other things I was into after that were things that didn't have a score. So I was into aggressive inline, rollerblading, roller skating, yeah, rollerblading, like skate parks. There's no score. You're just having fun, just having a good time, like with your buddies. I was into martial arts, American Kempo. There wasn't a score system. It was just just improving and getting better at moving and defending and whatever. So yeah, I just like left competitive point based games and like went towards things that were more fluid, I guess. So yeah, it kind of does line up still.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild. What an interesting.
You got something there, Caleb. You're on to
That's
something.
why I always ask it. And what I find to be interesting about that is who you are is who you've always been. It's just evolved in how we interact with the world and the things, the mediums that we tend to engage in, right? You've moved into like the tech space and design and, now this version of the health stuff that you're working on. I find that really fascinating, but like the internal you still is there. And that inner voice, that inner dialogue is still there. That was a cool one. I have yet to have a response like that. That was really cool. This one should be good. Question number 2. You're stranded on a desert island. What is your desert island? You get to bring one movie and one TV series, one series with you. What are you bringing and why?
One movie and one series. Okay. Um, it's going to be either Cool Runnings or Karate Kid because I just freaking love the 80s and 90s. So good. It would probably be Cool Runnings because I just think it would keep my spirits up higher. Just so happy. But then for a series, I don't know. Maybe there's like the practical answer is like the complete compendium of Alone, so I could learn all the skills I would need to survive. But that's such a dumb answer. So I would say probably The Office. Yeah, yeah. The
You're,
Office. You got 8 seasons to just like sit back and enjoy having someone to hang out with. Yeah.
this is why I love you. You always have a different answer than anybody else, but nobody's ever thought to bring a show or TV series or whatever that would be practical to solving the problem that they're in on a stranded island and how to survive. Nobody's ever even thought to even bring that up.
That's a very Dwight sort of move, though, from The Office. He's like, if you're stuck on an island, what book are you bringing? He's like, I can't remember if it was like the dictionary or like the Bible or something. Hollowed out inside, matches, and tools, a screwdriver. Like, what? He's like, false. Yeah.
reason why I like that answer, or why I like this question, is I think the medium that we like, the entertainment we engage in tells us a lot about what we care about. Obviously, I've known about, like, you have a fascination with 80s, 90s, I think some of my favorite visual things you ever, it's because I'm very attracted to like that neon color stuff, like obviously Naked Sunday, neon pink and neon blue, like there it is, like I dig
Yep.
it. And obviously your
Same.
retro references, I love it as being an 80s baby myself. And I love Cool Runnings. I've yet to have somebody who doesn't have some type of comedy thing in that response, which begs the question, like, what are we doing if we're not laughing? If we're not having a good time, what
For
are we
real.
doing in this life? I think there's something about that. But I, especially like, have something that lifts you up a little bit, like Motivation with Cool Runnings. What a great movie. That's
100%.
all time.
Yeah. It's great. It's one of the best.
Yeah, that's a very fine answer, my friend.
Thank you.
Final question.
Yes.
What is your deathbed meal? Who are you sharing it with and why?
Oh, shoot. Deathbed meal. Should have prepped these. Um, I mean, is there anything better than just a properly cooked steak? I mean, just reverse sear, nice crust, heavily like well seasoned, perfect medium, a hair under medium. Oh yeah, with just the juices. I want the juices to be dribbling in my unkempt beard of an old man down into my chest hair as my kids look at each other like, Dad's a hot mess. Uh, he's going out the way he lived. With my wife and kids. That's who I'd want. Just have a meal and be like, don't think about it too much. We're gonna enjoy this meal, and then I'm just gonna kick it. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
This is my fun way of asking the question, who's holding your hand on your deathbed? And I think I've told you about that when I officiated Preston's wedding, but I wrote that speech for it, The Window and the Mirror. The eyes are the window of the soul, but they're also a mirror. They're showing you actually about yourself. And I fundamentally believe we're all mirrors to each other. But especially on our deathbed, it's like this is the highest form, like the furthest we've progressed in our life. And especially just a lot of the things you just talked about when you walked away from just points based type of competition and more like self-improvement and growing as a person, that kind of stuff. When you get to the end of your life, like the only measuring stick is who's with you, holding your hand and sharing those moments with you. And piggyback that with, I believe, real world peace is solved one family dinner at a time, because that's really I've talked about with my dad. It's like, this is like your original ministry. This is your flock. This is the people you care for. This is who you've grown with and you've shepherded through this life. And I think there's something really powerful about that. So it's kind of brings those elements together. And again, who the hell doesn't love a good steak? Like, come on, there's something wrong. Like, I won't say there's something wrong. If you don't like steak, knock yourself out. But man, a good steak, come on now.
So good.
Yeah,
It's the best. Simple. Life is simple.
it is. Overarching concept behind those three questions is really just kind of like a gift of my upbringing to you. And that, like, it's a little message of love. Like, that's how I experienced love when I was growing up. My dad, he worked a lot, but every 4 to 6 weeks, he would always take me out for a boys' night. Go figure, I still do a boys' night like every Wednesday up here. And we would go to Sports Authority back. I don't think that exists anymore. Do you remember Sports Authority?
Oh yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure it's not around. Was it?
Yeah, by Hannaford, or I don't know if
Well,
you're
I
at
wasn't
the
up
time, but
here. I didn't move up here until
oh yeah.
2009, right?
Yeah.
What was the other one? Was it Modell's? I don't even know if Modell's is still around. Like, those were the big ones of
They're
yesteryear.
both gone. Yeah.
We do that, then we go to Outback, because in the same complex there was an Outback steakhouse. So steak is there. And again, back when
Yes.
Outback was better, it's definitely gone by the
It's
wayside.
fallen from graces. Yeah.
But that bloomin' onion was so
Oh, for the
fire.
day when Outback was the bougie restaurant in town.
It really was,
Dude, you went to Outback? I
dude.
didn't realize you were so rich.
Dude, and you had that bloomin' onion with the dipping sauce. It was so good.
Dang.
and then we'd watch a movie, or we'd go see a movie at the theater right there. So it was like our way of connecting and having our moment together. So it's kind of my way of
Heck yeah.
tying it all together, brother. But
That's awesome.
great answers to that question. The alone one, that was no. Just need like a Bear Grylls marathon or something like that. Just like, this is how you
Dude, alone is so much more practical than Bear Grylls.
alone.
Bear
Is
Grylls,
wild. What a premise.
Bear Grylls is like drink or pee and jump over this thing. It's like alone is like watch them do it for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the best. I mean, I like Bear Grylls. He's very entertaining. He's a smart guy, but alone is like watch me eat bark until my innards explode. You know? It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yikes.
Ooh, okay, don't do that.
Bull
Bull kelp does not look tasty. Yeah.
No, I'm the last person who would sign up for trying to be on that show ever. It's
Yeah.
I like the comforts of home too much, but I have a respect and appreciation for what they decide to do with that stuff.
For sure.
Yikes.
Yeah, you and me at Outback well before we go to play alone. Yeah.
I think the last time I went to an Outback was like 4 years ago, 5 years. No, it was definitely before the pandemic, close to like 6 years ago. I was like, ooh, the things have changed here. This is not what I remember from my teenage years, which was, over 20 years now. So, yikes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Weeks.
bro, we've gotten to the end of this, and people are like, I want to hear more about this recovery mode. I want to follow Jack around a little more, whether they need some Statamic tech online stuff. Anytime people ask me about what you do, I'm like, he does this tech thing online. It's website-y kind of things, but I'm not. You explained what a flat file was to me X amount of years ago, and I tried real hard to remember what that meant.
It's fine.
It eroded.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, I just want to be more a part of the Jack Osphere. That's
Sure.
The Jack Osphere.
Yeah, the Jackosphere. Yeah, New Jack City.
Let's wait for them to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, my website have links to everything else I do pretty much. So jackmcdade.com. That's pretty easy. Recovery Mode, the podcast will be on recoverymode.fm, and our first episode drops later this week, I think. Or I don't know when this episode comes out, but early mid-September, the episodes are going to start coming out. And Statamic, if you need to build a website and you know how to write some code and you want a good way to manage that, you can use Statamic. But this is like not the space for that. So I don't know. Don't worry about it.
You never know.
You never know. But it's like a better WordPress.
Love it.
Better.
I love it, bro. I love you.
Dude.
You're the best. Before we go, what is your final words of wisdom you'd like to leave our audience with today?
Pet a duck. Do you want to unpack that with me? Because this is my new thing.
Yes, pet a duck. That of all, you've never told me. I've never heard of this. So
this is new. This is my thing now. I think all the advice you need in life is rolled up. Everything that's missing is involved in it. If you just went and pet a duck, you'd fix all your problems. You got to get outside. You got to find a duck. You got to try and pet it. It's going to try to attack you. Now you're running away. You're getting some exercise. You've touched grass. You've been out. You've got some sunlight. You've got a story now because you were dumb enough to try and pet a duck. I think that's really all everybody's missing in life is just some good old duck petting. Yeah.
That will be my favorite clip to ever edit and put on social media ever. Of all the things I thought I was going to hear today, that was not on my bingo card, brother. Not even a little bit. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, bro, I love you. Everybody who's
love you too, bro.
Like, go hang with Jack. If you do not pick up on his awesome sense of humor, well, you don't have a sense of humor. So if you did, you obviously want to go hang some more. Go check him out. Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us today. Thanks for sharing your time and your energy. Until next time, I remind you to love everybody.